Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tarot to the Star. I am your host, Melody. We will be doing a ghost box reading today to celebrate Martin Luther King Jr.'s Day. It is a holiday, but it's much more important than that. Martin Luther King stood for many things. He was a minister and activist in his life. He was born January 15th, 1929, and he passed away April 4th, 1968. He was assassinated. He died in St. Joseph's Hospital in Memphis. He stood for marches. He fought for desegregation. He fought for civil rights. And, all types of things. He believed in the fight for people that were not treated fairly, which is the African Americans. He was supportive of, and, they were not treated fairly in this time. People couldn't simply drink water from a fountain at a school, or they couldn't just get on a bus and sit where they please. This is a time where, they were not even making a decent wage. They were getting paid much less than Caucasian Americans. And it wasn't fair, and he fought for labor rights of African American. But what Martin Luther King wanted is he wanted everything to be unified. He had a hope for united. He wanted it to be where both Caucasian and African Americans can stand side by side with each other. They could work together. They get paid the same wages. They get the same kind of, the same kind of privileges. They get to go to school together. They get, they don't get denied anything. They're both in equal playing fields. And he knew that what he was doing was dangerous, and he knew that he could possibly be assassinated. He was living with that every day, but he wasn't going to let the fear get to him to go out there and stand for the fight of justice, of what is right and correct for people of different color. And I think what he did was very brave. He was still young in that time. He wasn't too old when he was doing the fights in the beginning. And I feel that he was very brave. He was very courageous. He's somebody that saw vision. He saw what should be. He was tired of the same old, right? And he wanted to make a stance for it. And I commend him greatly for that, because of that, there was civil rights that were enacted in 1964, and voting rights were also added in 1965 for people that were African American, or I should say the African American people. I really wonder what Martin Luther King Jr. would think today of how things are going, and what he sees today, if he's able to see what's going on from heaven, from where he is. So let's find out. And I've already conducted a prayer prior to this reading. So we'll just get to the reading. Spirit guides of Martin Luther King Jr., that was a minister and activist, that was born January 15, 1929, and passed away April 4th, 1968, in St. Joseph's Hospital in Memphis. Can you bring Mr. King forward so I can ask him a few questions. I would like to conduct a brief interview for the people to hear him. Spirit guides of Martin Luther King Jr. or Martin Luther King Jr. I come to you with admiration and so much respect and love. I do want to ask you a couple of questions, Mr. King. I would like to know if you are able to see from where you are in heaven the state of affairs today, and what do you think of the state of affairs today? Martin Luther King Jr., Mr. King, if you will. I understand that you fought for labor rights, civil rights, you fought for desegregation. Are you able to see today, that there is so much that has happened since you've passed away in 1968? You have African Americans that are making decent wages. There's been improvement to much of what you were fighting for. Are you able to see that, Mr. King? Martin Luther King Jr., when you were alive, how did you feel about what was going on? I know you were fighting for these rights, but did you feel that it was going to be a long process coming when you were fighting for these rights? Or did you feel that it was going to be pretty quickly that, the laws would be enacted? How did you feel when you were fighting for these rights of the people? Martin Luther King Jr., I don't know if you know that the people have so much respect and admiration for you now. There is a holiday in your honor every January 20th of every year. People celebrate the honor of you. Do you know of this? Martin Luther King Jr., I want you to know that you are so loved by the people. You are something that, you are a person to the people that stands for freedom and strength and courage. And I want you to know that. That's what people feel about you, Martin Luther King Jr.
Mom.
Martin Luther King Jr., do you have any last messages for all those around the world that love you and they always admire you and they look up to you? Do you have any messages for the people? And it's not just African American people that love you. Everyone loves you, Martin Luther King Jr., everyone. And they respect you tremendously. Do you have any messages for the people that always think about you every year? Martin Luther King Jr., do you have any messages for your wife Coretta or your 4 kids? I apologize, Martin Luther King Jr. I do not know if Coretta is still living or your children are still living. But if they are, do you have any messages for them? Martin Luther King Jr., is there any last statements that you want to make to the people that are going to remember you on January 20th? We are in the year 2025 now. I don't know if you knew that, but that's the year that we are in. Do you have any statements for the people? Any message of encouragement for them?
Black. One tech.
Thank you so much for coming through, Martin Luther King Jr., if you came through to speak with us on Ghostbox. And thank you, spirit guides of Martin Luther King Jr. We are going to say goodbye to you now. We so appreciate you, and we wish you eternal peace, Martin Luther King Jr. We always have fond thoughts of you, and you are in American history books. Everyone knows about you and your fight and what you stood for, Martin Luther King Jr. Thank you so much for coming through, Martin Luther King Jr., if you came through today and spoke with us. And thank you, spirit guides of Martin Luther King Jr., for coming through, and any spirits that spoke on behalf of Martin Luther King Jr., thank you for coming through. We are saying goodbye to you all, and we are ending the session with you all. Thank you and goodbye. And for those of you still watching Tarot and the Star, I just wanted to kind of, let him know that he was very much loved and he's very much appreciated. It's not just once a year. People appreciate him all the time. Every time you think of civil rights, every time you think of rights of those that are of various colors, you think of what he stood for. What a courageous man. He knew that he could be assassinated at any time, and he still stood for the people. I commend him for that, honestly. That must have been extremely, for him, he's showing a strong face. But I feel that there's times that he was weary about the fight behind closed doors when he's talking to people that know him the best. Incredible man, strong, determined to make a difference. What a wonderful, wonderful spirit he has. And that's my 2 cents on that. That's how I feel about him. Beautiful person. So thank you so much for watching Tarot and the Star today. If you liked this video, click on the like button and do subscribe if you're not subscribed, and share this with other people that may be interested in these ghost box readings. I felt that it was due justice that he has a ghost box reading, especially the day that he is remembered. Wonderful person. It's like I could feel the energy, and his energy is beautiful. Strong still. So thank you so much for joining me. And I appreciate every single one of you. And I want you always to know that and remember that. As Martin Luther King would say, we all stand united. And that should hold true across the world still. If we all fought for peace rather than hatred, it would be a much beautiful, better world, wouldn't it? Unfortunately, we have, different situations around the world where there's a lot of animosity and a lot of fighting and war. It's very sad. I, for one, would love a world that was just filled with peace with everybody. I mean, this is the world that we're given. Try to do the best that you can. Show people love when you can. Show caring when you can. That's all I could say. And Mr. King is appreciated very much today by me, and I'm sure by many of you. Let's remember him. Thank you so much. Talk to you guys all soon. Bye now.